To extend a hearty welcome to all the students, scholars, and teachers of philosophy across the country to be connected with us in this students' webinar. On 26th December, we conducted the students, when the past students webinar, in which five UG students and six research scholars joined as participants, and their presence made the webinar series successful and very meaningful. Today, we have with us six participants today, and they belong to both the UG and the PG. Two students are from PG standard, and four students belong to UG standard. They are Ms. Ankita Podar, Ms. Smriti Rekha Naik, Ms. Jyoti Biswas, Ms. Barsha Bisoi, Ms. Lakshmi Ghatwali, and Ms. Subhasi Patra. I welcome all of them to today's webinar. Today we have with us the respected judges, Professor Paresh Chandra Das sir, Professor Anup Rai sir, Professor Dr. K. Omnaram Rao sir, and I also welcome all the sponsors of the students webinar program. On this occasion, I welcome to our admin and supervisor all the papers and the man behind the main architect of the entire program, Professor Pramod Kumar Das of Noyagoda Autonomous College, Noyagoda. I welcome him. With this, I also welcome all the senior teachers to be connected with this virtual academic program. On this occasion, it's time to call upon the first presenter of today's webinar, Ms. Ankita Podar. Ms. Ankita Podar is a PG student. Question raises.
We should also thank Ranjan Naik and Sravani Misra for raising questions also. Well, their questions are also answered. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much. Now we have to move to the session of undergraduate students. We have four undergraduate students who are going to participate in the students webinar. At first, I request Ms. Jyoti Biswas, the UG third year student, Balugan College, to reflect on her ideas on importance of Bhagavad Gita in man making. Over to Jyoti Biswas. Jyoti Biswas belongs to first year student, philosophy honors, Balugan College, Balugan. Her topic is importance of Bhagavad Gita in man making. Over to Ms. Jyoti.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. This is Jyoti, UG first year, philosophy honors, Balugan College, Balunga. My topic is the importance of Bhagavad Gita for man making. This is supervised by Professor Pramod Kumar Das of Noyagoda Autonomous College. Before commencement of my talk, it's my pride privilege to offer gratitude to the philosophy family for giving me such an opportunity to reflect my views on this topic. On this occasion, I convey my regards to the esteemed judges of the evening, the coordinator and my teacher, Dr. Kailash Chandra Maharana, and my guide, Professor P.K. Das, and all professors and my co-participants connected with this virtual program. Let me present my paper on this topic. My motive of presenting paper on this topic is to make everyone aware of our culture, which is dedicatedly meant for the whole mankind. Towards the end of the Rig Veda, there is a great discovery such as Manur Bhava Janaya Daivam Janam. The Vedas give instruction to man first to become a mental being and then generate the divine being within. In other words, it is instructed to man to transform from the state of individuality to the collectivity as to work together, speak together, think together, have the same aspiration and realize together, and so on. The Bhagavad Gita is a treatise of man-making and an ethical paradigm of humanity. The Gita is a scripture which tries to integrate the personality of the individual and make him capable of facing dynamically all his challenges in life. In the Bhagavad Gita, the man-making science of the Upanishad is brought out of the forest to serve us where we are suffering, in the marketplace, in the slum huts, in the drawing rooms, in the commune, and at the barricades. Human mind is never at peace. There is always an inspection of emotions and desires. Human desires are unlimited. Animals become satisfied after getting desired food. Humans need more and get trapped by his own bondage of passionate desires. Desire one must, act one must. But one should know the skill of doing action through proper regulation of desires. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that one should know the skill of performing action. That knowledge is yoga. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita is called Yoga Sastra, not a Dharma Sastra. Man easily gets distracted by the temporary emotions and feelings which create an attachment with the thing or the person around us. It leads to the habitat disappointment through which we are forced to accept the unreal fact that we are good for nothing. Everyone has an empowerment to make anything possible, but they are ignorant of their own power. They can manifest what they want. Our subconscious mind has power of doing anything or making everything real which is thought by us. We just need to train it in a proper way through meditation. We need to have control over our emotions and attachment by keeping our mind at peace. When Arjuna was hesitant to fight against his own brothers, Lord Shri Krishna taught him the path of the righteousness. This lesson not only inspired Arjuna, but also to the whole mankind. My objective in this paper is to submit how the Bhagavad Gita inspired us to walk on the path of the righteousness in our life and becomes a foundational source of inspiration for the man-making. The biggest fear that an individual can possess is the fear of death. Lord Shri Krishna states that when a human removes the fear of death from his life, he can get numerous ways to live a stress-free life. In it, Lord Shri Krishna states that our body is mortal while the soul is immortal. It means our body can be killed, but not our soul. To understand it well, he has given an example of clothes. He says that when the clothes get torn, they get replaced with the new ones. Similarly, when a person dies, his soul enters a new body replacing the old one. So one should neither fear the death nor grieve for the death. Death is the natural consequence of bodily decomposition. Human identity is not his own body, rather the pure consciousness. Man is Atman in his essence who never dies. Out of all the weaknesses that the human being can possess, the anger is very detrimental to the self and others. When man gets angry, he tends to lose his temper. He loses his discriminative wisdom. He cannot distinguish between right and wrong himself. After anger and fear, if anything that poses a threat to an individual, that is doubt. When an individual doubts his own caliber, he cannot acquire success. Thus, we must never doubt our caliber. If an individual does not keep control over his activities, he tends to get distracted. Due to this, he has to undergo distress, depression, and disappointments. However, if an individual takes out some time and meditates, he will get many ways to solve his problem and also control his mind. When an individual becomes selfish, it becomes difficult for him to face the reality. Due to his selfishness, he cannot see situations with a clear view and can end up damaging himself. When something bad occurs, we get worried about it or about the future occurrences. With reference to this, Lord Shri Krishna says that what has happened for good. What is happening for good. And what will happen for good. Right from birth, an individual is bound by responsibilities. In this lifetime, he should not run away from his duties and responsibilities. When an individual begins a task, he firstly worries about the results. Due to this, he cannot focus well on his work. He works lesser than his caliber and worries about the results, which don't get him his desired results. It means an individual must focus on his work and not on the results. Having abandoned or attached to the fruits of his work, he does nothing though he engaged in action. This is the character of a karma yogi. If a man follows all these things, he then leads a lively life. The Bhagavad Gita gives the formula for success. The Gita gives the technique of enjoyment. That technique is Niskama Karma. The Gita denounces a life of total indulgence as it degrades man to the level of an animal. It is natural that there are desires pertaining to body, mind, and spirit. Karma or desire is worth pursuing if it is guided by the principle of righteousness and modeled with the ultimate goal of life, freedom or moksha. In the Bhagavad Gita, Niskama does not mean absence of kamana. Rather, Niskama connotes the highest end of performing an action which is Lokasangraha or collective well-being. Niskama is not desireless action. Rather, it is a state of desirelessness. This is such a state in which karma is for Lokasangraha and every karma becomes an instant of Jagya. Any action which is antithetical to the ultimate end is a veritable evil or an instant of Vikarma. When action is performed with the right addition, it becomes the instant of Akarma. Niskama karma shows the method of transforming ordinary karma into the case of Akarma and indirectly prevent one from doing Vikarma. When one is established in the state of Niskama karma, it ultimately takes one to the state of Naishya karma. Niskama karma is cognized as a qualified karma installed with 5 fundamental attributes. Karma should be free from sense of agency. Karma should be free from attachment for the result or consequence, favorable or unfavorable. Karma should be inclined for the collective well-being. Karma should be executed by free will or rational will. Karma should be guided by the principle of righteousness. In this brief note, I conclude with the message that man is the maker of his own destiny, despite the fact that man is determined by his past bondage. The determining bondage and the free pursuit of freedom from all suffering go hand in hand in human life. Those who know the skill of Karma Yoga and the art of living are privileged to attaining peace and happiness in life. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jyoti, for your very brilliant presentation on the importance of Bhagavad Gita for man making. And the end of Bhagavad Gita is a formula for reflection of man making. You have beautifully concluded your paper as to how man is the maker of his own destiny, and the Gita, how Gita provides the art of living for attaining peace, happiness in life, and for collective well-being. Thanks so much. Now over to Dr. K. Omanand Rao for carrying on the interactive session. Over to Dr. Rao.
Thank you, Dr. Maharana, and also thank the speaker, Jyoti Biswas. Well, I request some of any of the participants to unmute and have a question for Jyoti. I'll wait for half a minute for someone to ask a question. It would be very interesting if somebody from the audience, they ask questions, like the way Prashant Kumar Arukha did so during the in response to the lecture by Smriti Rekha Nayak. So actually that is the objective of entire program. So everybody should participate. Well, any question from the participants? Well, nobody is unmuting. Well, I request as usual Dr. Kailash Maharana sir, Kailash Das sir to have a question for Jyoti Biswas.
Thank you, Rao. Jyoti has very nicely presented, very forcefully presented her point, and the paper was really very lucid and very clear. Left no room for us to question, but the fundamental question is that why she considers Gita as very important treatise as a part of Indian ethical tradition. How she will rate, and what is the basic reasons that she accepts Gita teaching for modern day life, that how can we lead ethical life, what inspiration we can get from Gita, if she can elaborate. She has told something relating to this, but I will ask her, she has very nicely written. So I would like to listen to her for 1 minute at least about what inspiration Gita gives us.
For asking, I want such a question like this because I choose this topic specially. मैं हिंदी में बोलना चाहूंगी, ज्यादा अच्छे से समझ में आएगा तो आप सभी को. मैंने ये चूज इसलिए किया क्योंकि मैं बचपन से ही मतलब भगवान कृष्ण के बहुत पास रही हूँ, क्योंकि मैं एक वैष्णव फैमिली से बिलोंग करती हूँ और मेरे ठामी जो है वो वैष्णव है. तो बचपन से ही कुछ ना कुछ था ऐसा, गीता के बारे में बहुत सारे सुना था मैंने बातें, और काफी चीजें मैंने पता की थी वीडियोस के माध्यम से, देन बहुत सारे किताबें थे उनके माध्यम से, तो मुझे बहुत सारी चीजें पता चली। तो मुझे लगा कि कहीं ना कहीं हमारे जो मॉडर्न मतलब चल रहे हैं, हमारे जो देख रही है समाज में जो कुछ भी दिख रहा है हमें, तो मुझे लगा कि शायद काफी लोगों को जरूरत होगी इस चीज को जानने की, अपने व्यक्तिगत जो जीवन है उसके लिए। तो सबको ये मतलब जानना चाहिए कि हमारे कल्चर में ये पहले ही था, बहुत पहले ही बता दिया गया था कि अगर जिंदगी में आपको कुछ करना है, कुछ बनना है, तो ये चीजें फॉलो करनी पड़ेंगी, आपको ये करना पड़ेगा। मतलब आपको मतलब जो कर्म होता है, निष्काम कर्म, जो बताया गया है फिलोसॉफी में और भगवत गीता में भी बताया गया है, इसके बारे में बहुत विस्तार से बताए गए हैं। तो मैं चाहती थी सबको ये बातें पता चले, सब जाने, सब पहचाने, इसलिए मैंने ये टॉपिक चूज किया। और मुझे पर्सनली बहुत अच्छा लगा, इतना सारा मतलब मैंने रिसर्च तो की थी पहले, पता तो था, मतलब अभी बहुत चीजें मैंने जाना है, बहुत चीजें मैंने अपनी उपलब्धि से माना है, और बस यही कहना चाहती थी।
मैंने क्या वो चीज है जो भगवत गीता का मैसेज क्या है, और आपने क्या जाना है भगवत गीता से? बहुत कुछ चीजें जान, मतलब यू लर्न, यू आर सेइंग दैट, बट व्हाट आर द थिंग्स दैट यू लर्न दैट वी विश टू नो? क्या वो चीज है जो भगवत गीता से हम सीखते हैं? वो जस्ट डिस्क्राइब करना चाहिए।
जो एक श्लोक है, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन, मतलब कर्म करते जाओ और फल की चिंता मत करो। मतलब ये एक्चुअली में ही करना चाहिए हमें, निष्काम कर्म जो होता है वो हमें करना चाहिए, फिर जाके ही हमें कहीं ना कहीं हमारा जो फल है वो हमें पसंद आएगा। अगर हम तकलीफ करके वो अचीव करते हैं तो उसकी जो कीमत है ना, वो सभी से अलग है। और बहुत से ऐसे रिश्ते भी टूट रहे हैं, उसके बारे में भी गीता में बहुत सारी चीजें बताए गए हैं। जैसे कि आप अगर कुछ निष्पत्ति लेते हैं, कोई भी डिसीजन हो, अगर आप ज्यादा खुश होके लेते हैं या फिर ज्यादा दुखी होके लेते हैं, तो वो कहीं ना कहीं बहुत हद तक गलत ही होता है, क्योंकि हमारे इमोशंस जो है उन पर बेस करके हमें डिसीजन नहीं लेना चाहिए, और कोई भी बातें उन पर बेसिस करके नहीं करनी चाहिए हमें।
Okay, Jyoti Vishwas. Well, if I look into the chat box, there is a question by Itisri Sahu, because she has said, well, you talk of Nishkama Karma. Well, is it really possible? Because without thinking of the fruits, man is never ready to carry on his actions. So whenever you think of something, you first of all ponder over the consequences, how the end would be. So is it really possible? How do you work? What would be your line of thinking for having a work detachment? कैसे संभव अटैचमेंट ना रहते हुए?
और उत्तर में ऐसे देना चाहती हूँ कि हाँ मुश्किल है। कामना मतलब कर्म के बाद जो फल होता है उसके बारे में सोच के ही हमें मोटिवेशन मिलता है कि हाँ अगर हम कर लेंगे तो ये काम तो हो जाएगा, तो ये मिल जाएगा हमें, तो ये माइंड में रहना चाहिए। पर उस वक्त नहीं जिस वक्त हम वो काम कर रहे हैं, मतलब हमें पता है कि हमें वहां पहुंचना है, अगर हम ये करते हैं तो हम वहां पर पहुंचेंगे, पर उस काम को करते हुए हमें वो नहीं सोचना कि हाँ मैं पहुंचना है, मैं पहुंच गई, तो ऐसा हमारा माइंड प्रतीत करता है कि वो चीज हो गया है और उसके लिए करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। तो ऐसा होता है फीलिंग एक हमारे जो मतलब कर्म करते वक्त जो होता है, तो वो फीलिंग नहीं आनी चाहिए। आपने वो जो कहा जो निष्काम कर्म मतलब कामना को छोड़कर अगर कर्म करना चाहें तो वो कैसे पॉसिबल हो, तो यही वो चीज है। मतलब हमें नहीं सोचना चाहिए कि वो चीज हो गया है ऑलरेडी। अगर हम ऐसा सोचेंगे तो कर्म ही बंद हो जाएगा ना हमारा, फिर हम करेंगे नहीं तो बढ़ेंगे कैसे आगे, तो वही चीज है। आई होप मैं आपको
okay Jyoti Vishwas, so you want to say, well, carry on the actions. If the results are due, the results will come. Don't think about the results, just carry on the actions as best as possible. If at all the actions are good and they are there is a chance of getting a result, the results will come automatically. Don't think of the results, so that will keep you more balanced, and that is what the message from the Gita that you say. Okay, thank you. Well, we have a question by Shravani Mishra, well, she says we are more in the material world, running after money, profit, loss, and all that. Well, you have answered to this question in answering the prior question. Well, let us move to Anup sir for any question from his side.
I have nothing more to add. One answer that the question asked Iti, the question is it possible to go for Niskama Karma, do Niskama Karma? One simple example I am giving, I hope it will help her. If you see you are a student, how to do Niskama Karma is, as I have understood, you are preparing for a good result in the examination. And you have seen that going for focusing completely on result, when some students don't achieve that target, they get frustrated, they even commit suicide. Niskama Karma is, as a student, your duty is to give your best in the exam. Read as much as possible, prepare as far as possible, and present yourself, put it in your note paper, note answer book, as beautifully, as good as possible. The result will come automatically. Don't think of the result, give your best. That is briefly, or for you at least, this can be how you can do Niskama Karma. So that even if you, what's the problem? When you are asking for a, I have to secure 98%. I have to secure 98%. If you get 96%, 96% is not a bad mark. Rather, it's a good mark. 96%, you get frustrated. Don't think of percentage you want to achieve. You just give your best in your exam paper. Answer result will come automatically, so that you can verify yourself, you can judge yourself how much you are able to get, deserve to get. 96%, okay. That is, I think, how Niskama Karma you can practice in your practical life. Thank you. And Jyoti, you have given a very beautiful paper. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for explaining my views on my points very clearly. Thank you so much.
Well, one thing, the last question it would be, now we have Bhagavad Gita, and we do read somehow Bhagavad Gita. But why do we fail to become real human beings? You focus on the point that there lies a lot of importance attached in Bhagavad Gita that would really help man to become man. But why that humanity, the human sense, is not being carried on in the modern age? How do you see this? Bhagavad Gita is a guide for us, but why do you fail? Why the modern man is failing to practice the technique that has been suggested in the Bhagavad Gita? How do you see this? The last question for you. क्या तकलीफ है? बहुत बड़ा मैसेज भगवत गीता जो मैन मेकिंग के लिए दे रहा है, लेकिन हमारे पार्ट में क्या दिक्कत होती है? मतलब वो मैसेज को क्यों कैरी फॉरवर्ड नहीं हो पा रहा है हमारे जीवन में? तकलीफ कहाँ है?
क्योंकि काफी लोग इंटरेस्टेड ही नहीं है। इतना मोटा, मतलब इतनी मोटी किताबें कौन पढ़ेगा, ये सोच रहे थे सब। इतने आलसी हैं, मतलब देखना भी नहीं है, सीखना भी नहीं है, भाड़ में जाओ, ऐसा टाइप है कुछ। तो मतलब मैंने इसीलिए ये चुना है और इसीलिए ये सब बोल रही हूँ, बता रही हूँ, ताकि कुछ फायदा हो जाए लोगों को, वो समझे कि यहाँ पर भी अच्छी चीजें हैं, हमें देखना चाहिए वो क्या चीज है जिससे हमें मतलब तकलीफ से छुटकारा मिल सकता है, हम कुछ अलग कर सकते हैं। मतलब सब देखते हैं यार इतने सक्सेसफुल लोग हैं, ये काश हम भी ऐसे बन सकते तो उसके लिए उनके पीछे का जो मतलब वो कर्म है, वो उन्होंने जो किया है, वो सब देखना पड़ता है ना। वो ऐसे ही थोड़ी ना बन जाते हैं सक्सेसफुल एक ही दिन में। तो वही चीज है, तो सबको ये समझनी चाहिए और सब इंटरेस्टेड भी नहीं होते हैं इस पे। और उससे हाँ धार्मिक चीज है, पर गीता धार्मिक तो है पर आध्यात्मिक है।
सबके लिए है। ये कोई कास्ट वगैरह देखकर मतलब नहीं बोलता कि ये हिंदूज के लिए, ये मुस्लिम के लिए। हाँ, वो अलग अलग बातें हैं कि अलग अलग किताबें मतलब है अलग अलग रिलीजन के लोगों के, पर गीता सबके लिए है। मेरा मानना यही है कि गीता सबके लिए है और सबको ही फायदेमंद, सबके लिए फायदेमंद है ये।
ओके, तो ठीक है ज्योति जी। तो एक बात है, तो भगवत गीता का जो साइज के बारे में आपने बताया है उसको निचोड़ के बहुत पतला सा बनाना है। उसका जो मैसेज है बहुत मतलब छोटी आकार में जो अगर पेश किया जाए तो ज्यादा सा लोग उसके निकट में आएंगे, या आपका जो व्यू है। वेल ओके anyway finally you have tried to justify your point anyway. Pramod Das sir wants to say something.
My view is beyond this program. So so about Niskam Karma, I shall speak one thing what Dr. Anup Rai said, and the speaker Jyoti Mishra said very beautifully, that we should have consequence orientation, but we should not overthink about the consequence. The kamana for consequence should not obstruct the way of doing our action. And Dr. Rai gave a very beautiful example of a student appearing in the examination. I shall just add one thing. Even if we did not get our expected result, suppose we got the contrary result, doing the best, I got the worst. In that case also, don't be worried. Be quiet, be calm, because you have done your duty rightly. If you have discharged your duty, whatever may be the consequence, don't be worried about it, even if it becomes contrary to your expectation, and it is contrary to your due. So why should I be moral? This is the answer. We should not be consequentialist by nature, by character. Consequence cannot guide me. Dharma will guide me. I have done my duty perfectly according to my Swadharma. My Swadharma as a student is to prepare well and do well in the examination. I have done it. Now that has become my past. Now I am engaged in other duties. So consequences are contextual also. There are many factors that determines the consequence. So man should not be worried about that. If we shall run after consequence, we shall run away from karma. So we should not run away from karma in running after consequence. So that is not the good message. And Dr. Rao asked a very beautiful question. If there is a very beautiful treatise like Bhagavad Gita, people are reading, but why they are not becoming? Why they are not becoming the perfect? The answer is, theory is not practiced. Okay, what Western philosophers do, they only discuss theoretically. They never practice there. They have given very beautiful justifications. They have made very big volumes on ethics. They have done all these things. Even they are discussing about practical ethics, but they are not practical in behavior. Bhagavad Gita is saying, be practical. This is the war field. You are there. You are here to fight instantly. Now you have to fight. It is not a classroom teaching. So whatever you have been taught since 13 years of preparation of war, now you feel reluctant to fight. That means you are not contextual, you are not practical. So every man should read Gita theoretically, and that should be practiced in practical life. We criticize, we don't practice ethics or values in our real life. Read one sloka from Bhagavad Gita out of 700 slokas, leave that sloka. Practice that sloka in your practical life, your life will be changed. Not necessary that you will follow 700 verses. I appreciate, and I shall not appreciate or I shall not speak anything. Anyway, Thank you. I am Jed.
Thank you, Professor Das. So the take from Professor Das is Bhagavad Gita is not a theoretical treatise; it is a practical one, and we need to practice it. And still more important message from his side is there may be a consequence orientation, but we should not be bothered about the consequence, because any bothering about the consequence will make our karma weak. So thank you, sir, for your observations and addition to what has been discussed. Now over to Dr. Maharana for carrying on the further course of action. Over to Dr. Maharana.
Okay. Thanks so much,